Joining me right now is Iowa Senator, member of the Senate Judiciary, Finance, and Budget Committees, Chuck Grassley. And Senator, it is good to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here. Take us behind that closed door yesterday. What was your takeaway on day one of the hearings for Judge Barrett?
Well, you heard from the other side that it's all about health insurance, and this doesn't have anything to do with health insurance. This is all about getting a qualified person, very highly qualified person, on the Supreme Court. So from the other side, you heard everything that distorts and distracts. And you have Vice President Biden and you have Eric Holder yesterday talking about what we're doing is packing the Supreme Court because they're finding out how unpopular the Vice President's position is on packing the court. He won't even tell them whether he's for it or against it. But they want us to believe that what we're doing is packing the court, where what they're talking about is adding a 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th member to the Supreme Court so they can put people on that they want that would make law instead of interpreting law as the Constitution requires the Supreme Court to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of obstructing going on, Senator. I want to get to Russiagate in a moment and your efforts to get documents. But first, please explain to our audience the ramifications of stacking the court, of getting, we've had 9 members of the Supreme Court since the 1880s. They want to take that number up to 13. They would also like to change Puerto Rico and D.C., make those states so that they have more liberal senators. Give us the impact of these moves. People need to understand before they go to election, the vote on Election Day.
Well, if you like bipartisanship, you shouldn't change the 60-vote requirement because it's the only place in the political system that forces bipartisanship, because when you only have 53 Republicans, you don't get anything done unless you have a lot of Democrats going along with you. So do people want partisanship? Then do away with the filibuster, make Schumer majority leader, and he's going to do that. Then packing the Supreme Court gets you to what they want to accomplish through the courts that they can't accomplish through the Congress of the United States. We're the legislative body, but a lot of things that Democrats want, they can't get through here, so they go to the courts, and the liberal judges like to expand laws that Congress passed. They like to expand the Constitution beyond the intent of the writers of the Constitution. So they want justices, so they'll put 4 more on to get around the 6-3 division of the court, which is made up of strict constructionists, so that they legislate from the court, and it becomes a super legislator. And what's wrong with that is the fact that you can't vote judges out of office. But if you don't like what I do, or anybody else, you can vote us out of office.
Yeah, you have been pushing to the FBI to hand over all of the relevant documents in the Russiagate scandal. I want to ask you about this because I have reported, and now the Federalist has reported, that CIA Director Gina Haspel is blowing off your calls from you and other Republican senators to hand over Russiagate documents, which were requested more than 2 months ago. But I can tell you that I know on the House, Devin Nunes and John Ratcliffe, I've been speaking with them for 3 years, and they've been requesting documents that they have not gotten. You are now waiting on Andrew McCabe, the #2 guy at the FBI, former #2 guy. You want his texts. Tell me what you've asked for and what the answer is that you've received, Senator.
Well, his email that tell us a lot that we don't know. What little bit we've seen, we're learning more, but we know there's a lot more there, because when we were down at the Justice Department, we saw a whole binder of his books, of his emails, and so yesterday Johnson and I wrote a follow-up. Now, why wouldn't the first letter that we sent a long time ago get every email if that's what you asked for? But there's something embarrassing in these emails that they want to cover up. And this gets me back to what I heard the president last night say in Sanford, Florida. He says, I'm not part of Washington. I'm the first non-politician to be president of the United States. I'm representing the people of the United States. And they've been trying to throw me out of office for 4 years. And he says if I'm not reelected, they're going to get away with it. And so if we want Durham's work done, if we want all these emails out, and Biden gets to be president, this is all going to be covered up, just like even in this administration, the deep state people have not cooperated even with the chief executive of the United States to get stuff out. And it's kind of like Johnson had a story one time. He says, I don't like something somebody said about me, and somebody said to him, why don't you get rid of him? He says, I'm going to get rid of him. And a couple months later, the guy came back and said, did you get rid of that guy? He says, hell, we can't even find out who he is.
Unbelievable. Look, what is Gina Haspel hiding? Who is she protecting? Gina Haspel is the CIA head right now, director of the CIA, but under John Brennan, during all of these dirty tricks that they played on Donald Trump and the Republicans, she was the station chief of the CIA in London. So why is she pushing back at you and Senator Ron Johnson's efforts to get these texts? We also know that Andrew Weissman, part of the Mueller team, they wiped clean 31 phones. You are never going to see those texts on those phones because they wiped them completely clean. Why isn't this considered obstruction? And why aren't you subpoenaing Andrew McCabe to come down and explain it all? He pulled out of your hearing the other day. He was supposed to testify in front of the Judiciary Committee, but he pulled out. So why not subpoena him?
Well, Graham's going to have to make that decision because Graham thought he had him coming willingly, and then he turned down last week that he was supposed to be here. So you'll have to ask Senator Graham that question, but I hope Senator Graham follows up with a subpoena.
And Gina Haspel blowing you off? Why? Who is she protecting?
Oh, I'm sorry. The bottom line of it is that I think Brennan is the biggest guy, but I think there's probably something in the emails involving Carter and Papadouris that maybe have her name in it, and she could be part of this conspiracy as well.
Gina Haspel could be part of this conspiracy as well. Senator, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Good to talk with you. We'll be watching your efforts. Senator Chuck Grassley joining us this morning in D.C. Thank you, sir.